We shall reconvene. All right, at this point, the issue is still on the floor. There is no amendment pending at this time. Is there anything that needs to be proposed at this time?
Mayor,
Yes.
I don't think we should go on and, we need to get this done tonight. We need to go on and plan for our workshop in July. I'm willing to meet at 14 cents and make my amendment for 14 cents, take out the raise, come back in July for a workshop so that we do not take it out of reserves. We cannot take our money out of reserves and affect our bond rating.
And therefore, we could take each of these ideas that's been put forth.
Everybody has good ideas.
Yes.
We
And
hadn't
this
spent
one
enough
would
time.
save one thing, what Clay said would save another, but
Right.
you've got to look at each of those on what problems this will cause and sort those things out. That doesn't mean there can't be a raise later in the fiscal year if we see that we can make the necessary cuts.
Well, and I
But
also...
at this point, but you can't go forward with it and then have to back up on it if that was one of the cuts.
And in July, if we can't give them a raise, then I think they deserve something.
And we can come up with those
My
ideas and put
16
them forward.
hours or
But this
what-
way, the work we've done
whatever.
to this point is not derailed, and we can move forward on the other. Okay?
That's my
Is that your amendment? Is there a
Yes, sir.
second?
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion? Call for the question.
And it's no raise.
No raise
No
at
raise.
this point.
Ready to
Call
vote?
for the question.
We just voted on a raise. We're not
What?
voting-
No,
No.
we are voting to pass this budget with a 14-cent tax increase. Take the 2% raise out at this point. So that means that any gap comes out of reserves for the time being. We'll come back and meet in July in work sessions and take all of these other ideas one by one and look at the plus and the minus and tweak the budget accordingly. If a raise can be put in, fine. If it can't, that's the way it'll have to be. But this will get this moving forward. It'll do, the rate increases in water and sewer are critical. You know what we've got to pay for with the EPA requirements in sewer. Sewer is the main. And that way, that won't be held back. And then I think we can more accurately deal with these ideas, some of which have been late in coming, but at least they've come forward. Does everybody understand what we're voting on?
Yes, sir.
So the 14 cents would be set in stone.
That's set in stone, and that's right. Once you set it, it's set.
And if it needs to be more or less, we will not have the opportunity to change that.
No, we can't change the property tax rate again, but we can adjust the budget within. We can add a raise, not do a raise, take some out, do the furloughs. We just need to meet as soon as we can to get it going.
But if we adopt a continuing resolution, we can accurately set the tax rate.
You could if you've done everything else, but you're going to derail, you're going to have to start all over on your water and sewer increase. You won't be able to levy those quick enough, because that's all, this budget's based on that starting July 1.
I don't know why.
Can we pull that out of the budget?
Those rates not be set
Sewer rates?
without an adopted.
See, you've got three items. You've got your budget, you've got your water, and you've got your sewer. They're all separate items.
But we already know in water and sewer that based on what we're doing right now, there's not going to be a raise, a 2% raise. So what else would affect the rates?
I'm saying that we need the income coming from those rates.
I'm saying, why can't we adopt those rate increases?
Without
tonight
it.
Without a set property tax rate?
We need to try to get this whole thing resolved. Now,
I think we're not going to resolve it.
well, let's see
Agreeing
what
to
the
meet in July is not, we haven't resolved it. All we've done is, it's prematurely set a property tax rate.
But you're confident, Paul, that you can do these other two?
Well, we've had two readings, yeah, I mean, they're separate ordinances, they're standalone ordinances, they're related to the budget, but they're not the budget ordinance.
Okay.
The budget
Well,
ordinance is separate.
I've heard everybody. You've got a motion and you've got a second.
Second to
Your
go
amendment.
with that 14
Let's
cents.
see what we've got, okay? All right.
If this, is defeated, do we have to start completely over?
But budget, you can make a change on Thursday, budget only. That's the only ordinance you can make.
Can you move forward with the deferral? Yes.
This is to amend the budget.
This is amending
Still
the
have to go back and
budget
vote.
from a 20-cent increase to a 14-cent increase. Okay.
Remember, we're adopting a tax rate.
That's exactly right.
Without knowing
Don't see any
what makes
way
it-
out of it this year. I just don't. I could argue about the amount, but.
Move the vote.
All right, you're voting on Ms. Snyder's amendment. Is everybody clear?
Yes, sir.
All right, please call the roll.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
No.
Head.
No.
Ellis.
No.
Mason.
Aye.
Pass 4-3.
All right, now you're voting on the budget as amended. Is any discussion on that?
Ready to vote.
Call the question.
Head.
No.
Carneal.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Ellis.
No.
Sneed.
No.
Pass 4-3.
All right, now we move to 2.3, third and final reading on the water rates, ordinance 1309. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, sir.
What?
Mr. Ellis, I'm gonna bring y'all up to speed. For a long time in a sewage and water situation, we went along to try to appease our builders and slowly dealt with our capacity fees. When we finally, was it 2006, 2007, Paul, we finally started putting them in. See, so we lost a lot of money. We had started back in the 90s and stuff, we would have the money. See, so this is part of the reason that we have to have these increases and stuff.
Other discussion on the water rates? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Head.
Yes.
Carneal.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
7-0. 2.4 is ordinance 13-10, third and final reading on the sewer rates for the coming year. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Please call the roll.
Ellis.
No.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Pass 6-1.
Okay. Next page, ordinance 13-11, this third and final reading on an ordinance to amend Chapter 1 of the Private Acts of 1989, which created our charter and any other acts related thereto on the election of the vice mayor. Is there a motion
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
All right, discussion? If you favor this, vote aye. If you oppose, vote no.
Carneal.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Sneed.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Ellis. Hubbard.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
All right, now 2.6 is a first reading and has to be read in its entirety. Ms. Watson.
Ordinance 13-12, an ordinance to enact a pole attachment rate schedule and standard terms and conditions for third parties using Springfield Electric Department poles without a contract or continuing to use Springfield Electric Department poles after a contract expires. Whereas the Springfield Electric Department has maintained a pole attachment agreement with all attaching parties to Springfield Electric Department poles, which establishes terms, conditions, and annual attachment rates to recover the cost of pole ownership. And whereas to prevent erosion of the Springfield Electric Department's revenue and to adequately recover the cost of pole ownership, such rates must be adjusted periodically as costs increase to more adequately recover the cost of pole ownership from parties using Springfield Electric Department poles. And whereas no parties should be allowed to attach to Springfield Electric Department poles without an agreement establishing terms, conditions, and attachment rates. And whereas whenever an agreement cannot be successfully negotiated between Springfield Electric and a third party, a default agreement and rates must apply. And whereas the current pole attachment agreement between Springfield Electric Department and Comcast Cablevision LLC terminates July 16, 2013. And whereas Springfield Electric Department has heretofore been unsuccessful in negotiating a renewal agreement with Comcast Cablevision LLC. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of Springfield, Tennessee as follows. Section 1, adoption of standard terms and conditions. The terms and conditions for attachments of cables and associated equipment terms and conditions attached hereto as Exhibit A are approved and shall apply to companies that utilize Springfield Electric Department facilities without a separate written pole attachment agreement. Section 2, annual rates, standard. Springfield Electric Department hereby establishes and the Board of Mayor and Aldermen approve the following annual pole attachment rates under the terms and conditions. Year 2013, $14.50 per pole attachment per year. Year 2014, $16.50 per pole attachment per year. Years 2015 and after. Annual increase based on Handy Whitman Index. The above rates cover attachments using up to 1 foot of space. A 10% increase will apply for parties using 1 to 2 feet of space. Section 3, default rates. Springfield Electric Department hereby establishes and the Board of Mayor and Aldermen approve a higher rate in the event that a pole user defaults under the terms and conditions. The default rate is based upon the current AT&T joint use rate. Rate 0 to 1 feet is equal to 28.44 divided by 31.11 at 8 times AT&T rate equals 91% of $29.61, which is equal to 91% of $29.61. Rate 1 to 2 feet is equal to 91% of $29.61. $26.95 per pole attachment per year. Rate 1 to 2 feet is equal to $29.61, same as AT&T rate. Section 4, all ordinances in conflict herewith are hereby rescinded to the extent of the conflict only. This ordinance will become effective upon final passage.
All right. Is there a motion this be considered?
So moved.
Any discussion? I didn't think so. Vote your preference when your name is called.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Ellis.
Aye.
Mason. Pass 7-0.
Okay, 2.7 is Resolution 13-15, which requires only one vote. This resolution would be to appoint a department head to our Business Conduct and Ethics Committee. Who is the lucky individual recommended this year? Police chief. He left. He must have known his name was coming up. Well, when you're out of the room, you can't defend yourself, can you? All right. Is there a motion that Chief Thompson be appointed to this committee?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I've had questions about how the makeup of this board for a long time. Is this the best makeup possible, that you've got subordinates of this board that would judge us in the event of there was an issue? Shouldn't there be people who are independent, not worried about their jobs?
Well, that's a fair question. I'm going to pass this on to Mr. Nutting.
I've always had a question about our subordinates, department heads, or his subordinate, which he is of us.
Yeah. We hire him,
Judgment
he hires
of our
them,
actions.
okay?
They don't have subpoena power. Is it just for looks?
Well, thanks for tossing it to me, Mayor.
That's what we
I
pay
think
you the
this
money
was set,
for.
I think this policy was set before I arrived. It's a
It
good
was.
idea.
It was set back in the
You
early
can't take
90s,
20.
and the Board of Mayor and Aldermen passed it, and they wanted a committee made up of an alderman, the city attorney, and a department head. They thought that they would be impartial. So that was the way it was passed back then. Obviously, you could change it if you want to.
If you'd like to make a recommendation later after you thought about it, please.
I guess we'll cross that bridge when
All right,
somebody
Chief
screws up.
Thompson, and while you were out of the room, you just got well, we haven't voted on it yet. Let's see. You may have somebody trying to compete with you. Any further discussion?
Yes, sir, since I was around then, it's to give the employees a chance to really give their beat.
Okay.
And, most of them, so far, been handled fairly, Mr. Singh.
All right, I understand Clay's question, however. All right, let's, anything further? Call the roll, please, Ms. Conlon.
Mason.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Snyder. Aye. Pass 7-0.
Okay, now we're in the administrative portion of the agenda. First item is the monthly adjustment of electric rates by our electric department due to wholesale fuel cost adjustment by TVA. This is a monthly thing, as I said. Mr. Gardner, what is the increase this time, or decrease?
Decrease of 1.3%.
We want to get that in effect real quick. All right. Is there a motion to be considered?
So moved.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Snyder. Aye. Carneal.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Ellis.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
All right, now the monthly gas rates, Mr. Hall,
They went up 0.98%.
0.98, okay, a little under 1%. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Please call the roll.
Head.
Yes.
Carneal.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
Okay, 3.2, discuss and possibly take action on the election of a vice mayor. What is your pleasure?
Mayor, I'd like to recommend Ms. Ann Snyder, please.
Is there a second?
I'd like to recommend James Hubbard.
All right. Do I have to get a second on these nominations?
No, I read up,
I do not, okay. All right, don't need the seconds. All right, Mr. Hubbard's been nominated, and Ms. Snyder has been nominated. Are there other nominations? Do I hear a motion the nominations cease?
So moved.
All right, second on that. Do I hear a second on that?
Second.
Okay. All right, if you would favor the nomination ceasing, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now, first one nominated was Ms. Snyder. All those in, let's just do it this way, I guess. We'll do by show of hands. Those in favor of Ms. Snyder, please raise your hand. Beg pardon?
Are we voting or are we abstaining?
We're voting. Well, I don't, you can do what you want to do.
You can vote.
Yeah, on that. Those in favor of Ms. Snyder? Okay. Those in favor of Mr. Hubbard? Okay. Ms. Snyder is duly elected. Thank you. All right, 3.4 is an appointment or reappointment to the Cemetery Commission. I think this was was this my appointment of Mike Fowler? Four. Oh, we got 4 up there? Okay, let's see. Okay, Ward 1, Dorothy Woodard. Ward 3, Nancy Harris. Ward 5, Bo Adams. And at large, Mike Fowler. Is there a motion these be approved?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Ellis.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
All right. Now the Parks and Recreation Board, and we have Gerald Jones, Ward 1, Louis Jameson, Ward 2, and Buzzy Pooh for Ward 3. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Please express your opinion as you vote.
Mason.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Snyder.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
All right, 3.6 is to discuss and possibly take action on a request from Springfield Water and Wastewater for the approval of task order 3B. This is on the sewer work, Mr. Lemasters, in the amount of $674,936. You've seen the staff memo and Exhibit F on that. Is there a motion?
So move.
And for those of you in the audience, has been funded by a bond issue that we have taken care of at an interest rate of 2.86%. Is this, the sewer part of this, about $6 million of that? So that's why you got that 13% increase in rates. And I don't like it any better than you all do. All right, any further discussion?
We need a second.
Did we not get a
No,
second?
we did not.
Second.
Okay.
I do have a question.
Mr. Ellis?
Is this a project that, you don't have to, that was bid? I mean, is this a project that's being bid?
This is engineering work.
But didn't we hire them to do a certain amount of engineering work, and this is additional work? Is that correct?
This is continuing engineering work that will last through the 5 years of administrative work.
These are going to continue to come up, Mr. Ellis, throughout this
But
process.
do we keep these people? I mean, are they with us the whole time?
Yes, you had a selection process for an engineering firm. And there, in that selection process, they were to retain subcontractors to work with them to perform certain tasks. And all these tasks are already outlined in the budget. In the contract, we executed with Gresham Smith and Partners. But they're going to come up in sequence.
As they do their work, and as you've seen all the, whatever they put in the sewer to get everybody excited and keeps the fire department running around and people thinking their house is on fire, that's really, that's how we find out a lot of this stuff. All right, anything further before we vote? Call the roll, please.
Snyder. Aye. Carneal.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Ellis.
No.
Mason.
Aye.
That's 6-1.
All right, on the next page, to discuss and take action on approving the reimbursement of expenditures for the YMCA after-school program. The city manager has a memo and an expense report. Mr. Summers, are you going to enlighten us on that?
Woodard?
Mr. Woodard, I mean, excuse me. I do know the difference.
Hey, that's fine. Courtney Woodard from the Robertson County Family YMCA. Good. I guess I was going to say good evening, but I guess it's good night now.
It's almost morning.
Yeah, you're right. I want to say the program has done really well. We've seen a lot of improvement in the kids that we provided for, programmed for. Just talking with Dr. Bell, he's definitely pleased with the work we've done. Dr. Whitlow as well, definitely, impressed with the work we've done with Springfield Middle School. We ended up, I think, in May 2nd with our last day programming for the school year, and we just transferred those kids over to a summer program. I knew a lot of kids wouldn't come because of summer, and that's just the way it is. But we have 21 on our roster, so we're still programming, and the kids are doing well. Just some of the things. I mean, we've had kids. None of our kids. We got one kid in summer school, and the only reason he's in summer school is because mom wanted him to bring that C up to a B. So the things we're doing definitely is working for these kids. Meeting kids just when I'm out and about in Springfield. I mean, I may see a kid and don't even know that they're around, but they come up to me, tap me on my shoulder, and hold out their hand, look me in the eye, and shake my hand. That's some of the things that we're teaching in this program. So some of the things we're doing is definitely working. So I know a lot of things that we're teaching now they won't be able to use right now, but it's good just to have those skills later on in life. So we're just pleased with the program and grateful to you guys.
We thank you for what you've done, and it
thank
requires a lot of patience.
Yes.
Day by day.
Yes,
Some
it
are
does.
more trying than others, but we do appreciate what you're doing and the climate that you provide there, and we're glad to be part of that. Thank you for coming to us on a regular basis and being very candid with us about what's happening.
Thank you. And anytime you guys want to come, we're at Springfield Middle School from 10 to 3, Monday through Thursday. So anytime you guys want to come, just pop in, let me know, and we'll make it happen.
Thank you for the tough love.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Woodard. All right, we need to vote on this then, please, approving the reimbursement. Is this within the budget?
Yes, it is.
Matty, you favor the approving these reimbursements as outlined in our initial contract with them? Vote aye when your name is called. If you oppose, vote no. You got a motion?
No, we don't.
Oh, we need a motion first. And a
So
second.
moved, put it on the floor.
Second?
Second.
Now, discussion. Please vote.
Head,
Yes.
Carneal,
Aye.
Snyder,
Abstain.
Mason,
Aye.
Hubbard,
Aye.
Ellis, Sneed.
Aye.
Passed 6-0 and 1 abstain.
Ms. Snyder, you're on that board, on the whiteboard?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, to now discuss and possibly take action on the possible name change for a portion of Curtis Wood Lane to clear up some confusion that occurs by one section of that road being accessed only from like the 431 side of as main as access, and then the other side being off of New Cut Road, and that's not good if you make the wrong move. You've got a long run. Is there a motion this be put on the floor?
So moved.
Now,
We need a second.
need a second. I think two people hollered.
Willie made a motion, I second.
Oh, okay.
Now, what's the suggestion?
I was on the board. You want Mr. James to go? I was at the,
George? Yes, please.
I come up behind him.
Back in May, we received a call out there on the east side of Curtis Wood. A man had called the ambulance for his mother. The fire truck, who also responds to these emergencies, got there in 4 minutes. The ambulance got there in 7. Of course, the fire truck has the staff that can do just about anything the ambulance can except start an IV. So you asked staff to look into this and make a recommendation. We took this question to the Planning Commission and discussed it with them. They came up with 3 options that you could adopt. The first option, which was their number 1, would be to leave the name as is and make no address number changes. The second option would be to keep the address numbers and add the suffixes east and west at the end of the street name, making the side that enters from Blackwood, Curtis Wood Lane east, and the side entering from Highway 431, Curtis Wood Lane west. The third would be to rename the section of Curtis Wood Lane on the Highway 431 side. I have a statement here that comes from the Planning Commission discussion that sort of really sums it up. After listening to several residents from Curtis Wood Lane, there were 6 of them there, and I talked to another family by phone. None of them wanted a number or street name change. After listening to the several residents from Curtis Wood Lane and discussing it for several minutes at their meeting of June 6th, the Planning Commission recommended by a vote of 4-1 that no change be made in the street name or address numbers. If the board believes a change is necessary, the staff recommends adding suffixes east and west at the end of the street names. The consensus of the Planning Commission members was that the ambulance personnel should be better trained to know the streets and to have E911 flag the street to let the ambulance know whether the addressed calling in should be approached from the Black Patch side or from the 431 side. So the fire department has this down pat. They get there quickly. The ambulance service has a little bit of problem because they have some part-time personnel that come in and fill in. But I believe the 911's telling them, you know, this is on the east end, you need to enter from Black Patch, or on the west end, you need to enter from 431. I believe that would work, and that's what the Planning Commission believes.
All right, let's see if we've got any questions now, or do you want to throw something out? we've got it on the floor to consider, so whatever you want to move on.
Yes, sir. Can I comment on it?
Yes.
Because I was part of it. It was a general concession, as he said, but only one thing, even with that, and I'm gonna say it publicly, okay? The chairman of the Planning Commission Board literally attacked us in a very derogatory manner. I didn't appreciate that. So I'm going to discuss some things he said on camera, but I'll talk to you personally.
We'll take that up.
And he did not conduct it in keeping.
What's your
focus.
recommendation on this?
My recommendation, number one, was, I was one that said that east and west. But my recommendation, I'll go along with the fact that since the fire department has it down pat, and hopefully, I think part of the argument was Nashville ambulance people got off track. They didn't know exactly where to go, but our people pretty much knew.
Well, I think this is correct. I talked it over with Jimmy, our fire chief, and 911 and Elvis as well.
Okay.
They have flagged the street.
Okay.
So
Kathy,
automatically,
back here, you all can handle that all right? Okay.
so automatically, when that call goes out on that street, the dispatcher will tell whomever where to go. Now, our police and fire have no problem, but the ambulance, they'll be instructed to go use one entrance or the other. So hopefully that should.
But I'll go along with the majority, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, all right. All right, we have a motion to be considered. You want to uphold the recommendation of the Planning Commission? Let that be.
We've already got it.
We already
Not to change street name or
not
addresses.
change anything. That's what they voted for, Jerome, 4-1.
Mr. Ellis, it's your ward, right?
That's what I'm thinking.
You want
Oh,
to?
I know, y'all have got a motion on the floor, but I just think we need to distinguish between the two. And whether, people like it or not, I think that it should be an east coming off of Black Patch and a west Curtis Wood coming off of 431. For people who don't know where it is, that gives them some direction. That would be the smallest change in addresses that you could have. Would have to change any house numbers.
Right.
Wouldn't have to, I guess the same mailman takes some mail. I don't
It
know.
won't confuse anybody. Curtis Wood, all the numbers are different. There's no two
It's
sets
the
of
same,
numbers.
the same mail route. Does anybody know? I've never asked that question.
I don't know. Alls I know, I talked to Mr. Moore, and he said they had no plans to connect that in the near future. So that road is gonna be separated for a while.
Can 911 deal with this? Can y'all handle it, distinguish between the two or not?
Well, as far as dispatch, when that call comes in, it's gonna show that exact address. I mean, of that resident, but, the way dispatch, you've got personnel in these departments that are working from different counties, and they don't know this area as well as, a lot of emergency service personnel, like your fire department personnel. The addresses can be flagged in dispatch when that caller calls in. A lot of times when that 911 call comes in, they're looking at all this other information, and they may not particularly pay attention to that flag always. There is that slight,
I'd like to make a motion, sir.
All right, let's see where we are. I want to entertain that. We've moved to consider this. Have we moved beyond that?
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. Ellis,
And so
you're going to word the motion that is now approved.
I would like to
It's set to proceed.
make a motion that Curtis Wood Drive be
Lane.
be named East Curtis Wood on the Black Patch side and West Curtis Wood on the 431 side. Now, is that okay?
Mr. Thompson, Chief Thompson?
Okay.
Yeah, the suffix is consistent with what we do on other streets, like West, Fifth Avenue West and so forth.
make that form of a motion, sir.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right, all right. Any discussion now? You understand what Mr. Ellis is recommending? Vote your preference.
Carnell.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Sneed.
Aye.
Mason. Snyder. Ellis.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
Thank you very much. Now, 3.9, discuss and possibly take action on the E911 dispatch costs and staffing. Mr. City Manager?
All righty, let me get these.
Let's
in.
get a motion to get it, well, let's just wait. You give your report
that-
and then we'll decide what we want to
Is
do.
that last one 7-0?
Yes.
Thank you. All righty, let me give you some information here. We'll review this, and I'll ask maybe David Thompson to kind of help me out here if I miss something. So this is a county resolution that was passed last night. And then I want to give you a summary of the current status with dispatch operations.
Go ahead, Mark.
Okay, as you know, the board determined at the last meeting that we would separate from the county, that the former county dispatchers would go back to employment with the county to dispatch all the county calls and the related calls that from other cities and agencies that are classified as county calls, and that the city and White House employees would stay consolidated and they would answer the Springfield and the White House calls. So the employees were notified that there is going to be a change on July 1st, and so was Mayor Bradley, and so was Ms. Spears, who is the chairman of the E911 board. So in summary, just to let you know where we stand, it is clear at this point that the Robertson County will not be reimbursing the city of Springfield for any dispatch costs for fiscal year 2013, which is about to end. The former Robertson County dispatchers will become employees of the Robertson County Emergency Communications District rather than the county on July 1st. And the E911 board has approved the transfer, and all the dispatch employees will receive the same salary and benefits as they received as City of Springfield employees. While the county doesn't want to take them back directly in county employment, although they will be paying for them, is because the county, our salary and benefit system does not match the county employees. So bringing them back would treat them a little differently than the other county employees. So they thought it would be best to transfer them over to E911 if E911 was willing to take them. So they are willing to do this at this point. Springfield and White House dispatching will remain consolidated July 1st. The Robertson County E911 board will take action on the separation of the consoles at their June 25th meeting, which is early next week, a week from today. We estimate, David, that about $4,500 would be the cost to reprogram the computers and to reallocate the phone lines.
That is correct.
And I think right now the assumption would be that the E911 board would just pay for that. If there's some reticence on their part to do that, I would like to have the authority of this board to authorize the expenditure to pay for that, to effect that separation as soon as possible. And it might not be by July 1st, but it'll be fairly soon thereafter. The county will allocate, under the resolution that you were just handed, $130,000 for dispatch cost to be paid to the E911 district, not to us as reimbursement, but to help pay for more of the dispatch costs for their side of the ledger, following the transfer of the former county dispatchers from Springfield to employment with E911. So sometime as soon as the new fiscal year begins, some point in that fiscal year, they will transfer $130,000 for that purpose. The E911 board will proceed with the hiring of a director in the fiscal year 2014 to supervise the E911 dispatch employees. Now, I have also listed city conditions that should be met before city employees become E911 employees, assuming the city wishes to do so. As a result of the study, and Alderman Ellis, Mayor Carneal, Alderman Schneider, you were on the study committee with me, we feel that ultimately at some point we ought to be consolidated, and we think the best way to do is have everybody under E911 at some point when the situation is right. So right now we're prepared to go it alone July 1st, but if we are going to come back at a later date and consolidate with E911, these are things that need to be done first. The Robertson County Emergency Communications District should hire an executive director before City of Springfield dispatchers are transferred to employment with the district. We want to make sure we have a good professional person, preferably from the outside, has no ties to any city or the county, get in there and be prepared to manage that situation countywide. So that's one thing that we think should happen. We also believe that when the new director gets here, a study should be completed to determine the most efficient means of staffing dispatch operations for a fully consolidated E911 operation. As we've stated before, if we have a big enough work pool, we can be a little more efficient. We could probably operate with a few less dispatchers. We can look at staffing in the early morning hours when we really don't need the dispatching staffing that we've been carrying. Also, one of the conditions that I think this board has fully insisted upon, and this has been an argument all along, although the county has not given us anything yet in writing, it was not included in the resolution last night, and it certainly needs to be, is that the fully consolidated emergency communication dispatch costs are to be paid proportionately by all parties using the following formula. And each individual government would pay 50% of the cost based on their proportionate share of the calls for service, and 50% of the proportionate share of total cost based on county population. That was agreed to. I mean, that was a recommendation in the MTAS-CTAS study.
That's fair.
And that needs to be done at the transfer of immediately of the City of Springfield dispatchers for employment as E911 employees. And lastly, we need to make sure that all the conditions that we talked about here above 3 should be included in a revised E911 Consolidated Emergency Communications Center agreement. So I don't think this resolution is going to, help us any. It goes to the 911 board to help pay the former county dispatchers. And so I think at this point, we're just going to proceed with the separation and hope that the E911 board will authorize that. I have reason to believe that they certainly will, and they will operate as 2 separate dispatch operations out of the same building until all these other factors come together where we can then realize some real savings. Now, the drawback to this, of course, is, well, they're not helping us out, so we're not going to get any money. There's no extra money in the pot, so we're going to continue as is, which is going to continue to drive up our budget a little bit, well, a lot, $200,000, because we are continuing to maintain the costs that we've been maintaining for the last 3 or 4 years. So that really isn't changing.
So what you're asking tonight is to proceed, is you want the authorization, if necessary, to fund the changeover on those consoles.
Yes, I think that would be one of the things that.
Do you need any other?
Well, I think we're kind of in a corner right now. We've got time. We need to make the separation and let that happen, and then who knows in the next few months what gets resolved, how quick they hire a director, what sort of issues. The contract needs to be talked about almost immediately here. We need to start making changes in their contract so when we do make the move that everything can be handled rather quickly.
As Paul and I discussed earlier today, I attended the meeting last night with the county to see, and I'll tell you that even though these things that Paul has outlined are not in the resolution, that when they spoke last night, the mayor and commissioners and the county attorney spoke last night, they addressed these issues and said they do intend to do these things. They do intend to abide by that formula. They intend to hire a 911 director. They hope that we will become a part of that. So it's kind of like we got a roadmap and we want to end up in the same place. We agree that we want a director. We want it all under the 911 board. We're not taking the interstate to get there. We're taking the back roads. We're just kind of taking the long way around to get there. But from my conversations last night, we're headed in the same direction.
You are encouraged then, Chief.
I am, that a year from now, if we all live up to our commitments, we negotiate in good faith, we should have a fully consolidated communications operation where everybody's paying their proportionate share.
That would be a good thing.
And between now and then is going to be details. It's kind of like separating out the lines. We probably need to sit down before we actually do those things and talk about how we're going to make these things work with the 911 board as separate employees. But those are the details we can work out on a staff level. But I am encouraged at this point by the county's actions. And if people live up to what they said last night, I think we're going to make this thing work.
All right. Thank you very much, David. Now, would someone care to make the motion so that Mr. Nutting would have the authorization to cover the changeover of those consoles if that's necessary?
What was the dollar amount?
About $4,500.
45.
We hope it's not necessary.
Yeah, we hope that they will pay it, but in case they're not willing to, at least we can offer something.
Is there a second to Mr. Ellis's motion? Second. Any discussion?
Yes, sir. Contracts, no handshakes.
Correct.
With the county.
As we move forward, yeah. All right. Vote your preference.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Head. Ellis. Mason.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
Thank you. Item 3.10 has
Thank you.
been removed from the agenda. We're ready for the consent portion. Everybody will make a motion on the consent?
So moved.
Second.
Total adoption.
Do I hear a second?
Mason.
All right. Vote your preference.
Mason.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Snyder.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
All right, it's been a long meeting, and I appreciate the way in which everybody has contributed and tried to work out. Oh, we got a couple of people want to say something?
I need a special meeting on the Comcast ordinance before the July meeting.
Before the July. Okay, let's see. We're getting into vacation season now. Let's see. What's a bad week? Our July meeting is set for Tuesday the 16th. If people going to be in, let's don't do it on the week of the 4th of July. How about the week after the 4th? Anybody got a problem with the 9th? That okay with everybody?
Is this
What
just a
time?
one-item meeting?
Yes.
What about our workshop?
Well, we're gonna do a workshop too, but I don't know if you want to combine that with it, or if you just got one thing to do, we can do that at noon sometime. And I'm gonna suggest that we do that. And I want you to be working on your ideas and have them ready, and let's set a meeting I'm talking about two different things now. Let's talk about on the 9th of July at noon to take care of this Comcast thing. Regular meeting will be the 16th. And then, since there's 5 weeks between the July meeting and the August meeting, I believe the way that falls, that is correct. Let's look at the 30th of July to try to do that workshop and see if we can fine-tune things on this budget. Get any ideas? I mean, we'll talk about it some on the 16th too, but we need to be ready on the 30th to hash that out. All right. Anything further?
Brief report.
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to say a few quick things. Wanted to congratulate Director of Planning, George James, who's been elected the chairman of the Tennessee Local Government Planning Advisory Committee, and that's a very important post in this state. And George has been acting as vice chairman, and he got promoted. So, but he's only got a 4-year term, so but he'll go out on top. Also did want to remind the board that the Gore McCain Public Library in United Way of Robertson County will host the Raise Your Hand Tennessee this Friday, June 21st, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the library. And the First Lady of Tennessee, Ms. Chrissy Haslam, will be in attendance at 10:45. There will be storytelling and fun-filled activities to celebrate reading, mentoring, and community. There will be food, drinks, and lots of fun. A summer library card will be available for all children who attend. And lastly, a total of 20 unsafe structures have been removed since January 1st, 12 by the property owners and 8 by the city, and 4 unsafe structures are undergoing repair by the owners. And that's all I have.
That's excellent. Is there something else?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
You got to make it quick, Mr.
It's
Speed's
quick.
got to get to work.
Let us, if we could, board, I wish you listened on this one. As the governor put up the bounty for the Singletary killing, I think it's no more than fair. The Nash boy was killed before him. Some kind of way, let's make a resolution and put pressure on the DA to go to the governor to put up another $10,000 ante on the Nash boy killing, because it's just not fair.
Think further? We stand adjourned. Thank you.
I'm stuck to my chair.
Sorry.